well, maybe that's not about health, right? That's not going to make me healthy. I mean, sometimes I might have to do that to stave off a crisis, but that doesn't create health. Drugs don't create health. So, you know, the street drugs, are they bad? Yeah, they're bad, but I think that's a lesser problem. I think the prescription drugs are the bigger problem. And so setting the table for the talk tonight is about how if we assess where we are, just look at the statistics of the sort of the measurable outcome of the way we live, then I think if I can make you see that and appreciate that, that's going to change the way you think about all the stuff that we're going to talk about. Because if I just stand here and say, this is what you should eat, and this is what you shouldn't eat, and this is how you should exercise, and you should drink lots of water, and you know, that's nice, but does it make you feel any different? I mean, so if you don't feel any different about it, you're going to go on, you're not going to behave any differently. So anyway, I think when we look at the way things are going in this country, at least it motivates me, and I hope it motivates you. So right now, we are in a healthcare crisis. Does everybody agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
Right? We are in a healthcare crisis to the tune that we spend more by far than any other country on healthcare. But we have the worst health of any industrialized nation. When they did the studies on this, out of 37 industrialized nations, we came in, guess where? 37. Last. But we spend the most. It represents almost a third of our gross domestic product. And right behind that, by the way, right under that is packaged food industry. Interesting. So we got drugs, number one, and then packaged food industry. So we spend the most, we have the worst health. We have the worst infant mortality of any industrialized country on the planet. So you have a better chance of making it to the age of 1 in every other industrialized country except the United States. And right now, in the United States, the leading cause of preventable death, does anyone know what that is? The number one leading cause of preventable death? That's a fair shot.
No,
That's also a fair shot. And what would be maybe the third thought? Cancer? That's a great one. Guess
no,
what?
It's not heart disease.
It's none of them. No, but I'm not a fan of those either. But you know what? You know what it is? Iatrogenic disease. What? Never heard of it, right? Iatrogenic disease. That means doctor-caused disease. Number one. According to the New England Journal of Medicine and the Journal of the American Medical Association, and work done by Gary Null. That's why we're videoing this, so you guys can go back and double check what I'm saying to you to validate this. Right now, in the United States, there's approximately 750,000 deaths caused by the traditional practice of medicine every year. 750,000 deaths a year. Doesn't that sound almost like genocide? I mean, that's frightening, isn't it? Now listen, let's put it in perspective. How many people die every year from going to a chiropractor? How about none? So, what if chiropractic killed 700,000 people this year? Do you think that I would have a job next year? No way. So it's accepted. It's par for the course.
Some of that big number could be people who are so along in their age that their
This is,
drugs
but this, yeah.
are at such a balance.
Are you talking about malpractice?
No, I'm
Yeah,
talking
give an
about...
example.
I'll
Can you
give
give
Well,
an
actually,
example?
included in the malpractice,
I'll
yes.
give you an example. My
Yes.
mother went to the hospital
Absolutely.
3 days ago because they took her off for Lasix
Yep.
because her kidney was down to 20% function,
Yep.
but it had her retain all that fluid, and
Yeah.
she almost, the ambulance had to come, she just passed out, hit the floor because of the fluid. So if she had died there, that would have been in your category there, where he prescribed something,
Yes.
and
Yeah, it would have been in that
but
statistic.
there must be some
So I
portion
think,
of the pie, these people that are doing the balancing act near the end anyway.
I think that
When it's Michael Jackson.
I think, you know, the majority of the numbers, though, like, for example, I know almost a couple 100,000 of them anyway were due to just outright malpractice issues, you know? So inherent in the model is just a much greater risk, is my point, you know? And okay, even if you cut it in half, I mean, no matter how you look at it, it's just so unbelievable that it makes me think, you know what? We're gonna need crisis care. So sometime, God willing, you know, we're gonna get through that process, and I've been the beneficiary. I had viral meningitis one time, and I was more than happy to hit that button for morphine, you know what I mean? I mean, you know, there's a need for crisis care, but here's the thing. The problem is, as I see it, that there's such a contradiction because we're calling it healthcare. It's part of the lexicon. So we think if I apply this phenomenal system, right? Disease care.
Disease management.
Sick care. Disease management, right? So if I apply this model to myself and my family, and I have great insurance, I'm covered, I'm good. So the problem with that is that it doesn't alter the way you make decisions necessarily about how you live.
It's damage control.
It's it. It's insurance. It's like having, you know, car insurance, right? I mean, if you know, you want to have some kind of coverage if you get in an accident or, God forbid, have an injury. So you have this umbrella protecting you, so you think. And if I apply that to myself and my life, I'm covered, I'm good, because I got the best health care. So surely I'll stay healthy. But that doesn't...
Another big issue is they're not good at knowing what other drugs you're taking. Even if they interrogate the pharmacy that you go to, they don't know what else you're really taking or what you're not taking, because as you get older, you skip things.
Yeah.
So they're experimenting a bit in this area.
And that's
a lot
whole...
of people die because of
the logistics.
Combination of you know, two things that are working.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I agree. I agree. You guys are on the ball. So right now, here's the kind of the result, and leading to the tipping point that I mentioned, is that right now the United States, our children, that population, the children's population right now, their generation's the first ever generation in the United States of having the child having lesser life expectancy than their parents. And that's the tipping point that I'm talking about. So clearly, if that's the case, then...
And that's with all the newest and best drugs.
That's right. Every time you turn
penicillin
around,
and
there's
all
a
that.
new one coming out, right? Because we have the answer here, and the newest, latest, greatest medical, you know, option, and drugs and therapy and diagnostics, and they even have people believing that colonoscopies is preventative medicine. There's nothing preventative about that. At best, it's early detection, mammograms, colonoscopies, all that stuff. It's always about setting the table for, well, if you have it, we're still going to come in, we're going to treat it so it doesn't get too bad. It's always about the treatment. It's never about prevention. But they call it preventative medicine.
Maybe they make you think there isn't a way to prevent it, so that you don't question it.
Thank you. So isn't there an interesting, conspicuous lack of discussion about cause?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Cash.
So, you know, we keep throwing money at the treatment. Just talk about, what's that expression, throwing good money after bad, right? We just keep pounding it with money, right, for research, for more and more drugs to treat the diseases that we're creating. So I'm going to share with you guys some insight into sort of the reality in the current nature of biology and science, and how, if we appreciate the fact that this research has been done and how it's been shown that it really isn't about the genes. That's exciting to me. It's about lifestyle choices. That's the stuff we're going to talk about. But if you understand that, you own that, you believe that to be true based on the science that's been done, and this isn't just like a religious thought process. It's reality based on science. It's like if I stand here and I drop this quarter and you say you don't believe in gravity, it's still going to hit the floor. There is science to prove this. And that's why we should talk about that a little bit, because once you own that, you're going to go forward saying, you know what? Wow, these choices I make are going to matter. It matters more than anything. You know, this guy, Bruce Lipton, who I want to talk to you about, he makes you want to, he tries to inspire you to do just that. And he notes the economic meltdown, that we're in an environmental crisis, and we're basically, he says the world is in critical condition. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about his work. Bruce Lipton says that